You're listening to DrachenPod, the official podcast of DrachenFest US. Please share, like, review, and subscribe to help our community of champions grow. Learn more and secure your tickets for this incredible experience today at DrachenFest.us. DrachenFest US, the largest fantasy LARP event in the United States. Each June, more than 1,200 attendees spend 4 days in Pennsylvania, role-playing fantasy characters engaged in immersive gameplay, experiencing stories, celebrations, battles, and medieval life. You have answered the call, and your adventure begins with this episode of DrachenPod. Welcome to DrachenPod, the official podcast of DrachenFest US. I'm your host, Ryan Faricelli. I'm the marketing coordinator for DrachenFest.
I'm Jason Hughes. I'm the Limbus coordinator.
Hi, and I'm Carie Varner. I'm the design lead for Limbus.
We're excited to be here today. We are going to be talking with Kat Schubert, who is the lead ref for Shadow Camp.
Oh, it is time for the Shadow one.
I thought she was Shadow 5.
Well,
bum, bum.
That's complicated, but she's not going to tell us on this show. That's my prediction.
I don't think so. I think she will tell us. She seems like a very open and honest person.
Let's go talk to her and find out if we can figure this mystery out. I summon into the podcast the one whose nefarious joy thrives in shadow. The one whose dedication to goth Muppets goes unmatched. The one whose radio call sign may or may not be Shadow 5 or 1 or 6. I call forth Kat Schubert! Hey, welcome, Kat. Congratulations, you're a guest.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's coming up close to game, and there's so much that needs to get done, and it feels all like it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to throw up every day. I'm in panic attack time, so yeah, I get it.
It's busy season.
Please don't do that.
Oh, well, that's part of the process, you know.
I mean, live your best life, but
You're making people not want to go to Limbus.
I want them to feel my anxiety. That's how I design it, based on how bad I feel.
Feels like getting sick. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, Kat, we appreciate you joining us. And I guess before we start doing anything else, we would love to know just a little bit about you. Where are you from? What do you do when you're not Drachenfesting? And once we're done with that, we'll talk about what you do at Drachenfest for Shadow Camp.
when I am not doing LARP specific things, I am an engineer by trade and training.
Wow.
But outside of DrachenFest, my LARP life is mostly of the boffer flavor.
Okay. I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that you're an engineer. LARP is for everyone.
It is. Even people
LARP
with
is
good
for
jobs.
everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So what boffer LARPs do you play in?
Primarily Alliance, which is a national system, part of the sort of Nero family,
Okay.
but a smattering of other things here and there as well, mostly homegrown stuff.
How long have you been at it, LARPing?
Not that long, actually. I've only been LARPing for coming right up on 2 years, like very, very
Aw.
close to right now.
It's a baby LARPer.
It's
It's
a
a
baby.
baby. She's so cute.
I would say I'm like maybe not a baby LARPer. I feel like I'm like a toddler LARPer now.
Oh, okay.
All right.
You can tell.
Wait, are
They
you
still
doing
have
like
hope.
the drunk walk? Toddler drunk walk?
Yeah, yeah.
That's my
With the
favorite.
weird little wobble thing going
Yeah,
on.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite.
I think I know what I'm doing, but all the adults look at me and go, "Oh, it's so cute."
I love the
Yep.
fact that you've not been doing it very long, and yet here you are as the lead referee for Shadow Camp.
Or is it Shadow 5? Which is it?
You know, that's what they keep telling me. That's a good question. I think you'll have to come find me in game to come find out where that may or may not come from.
Yet again, find out in play. Damn it.
Yes.
Let's start by talking a little bit about Shadow itself. So tell us about the Shadow Dragon.
So the Shadow Dragon's tenets, so I'm sure you've heard about this from so many of the other camp refs and individuals who you refereed so far, but each dragon has their own tenets, and it's a mix of good and bad things. No singular dragon is the hero or the villain of the game. That said, I think Shadow tends to get miscast a little bit as sort of the villain archetype, and I'm sure we can get into that in a bit here. But specifically, their tenets include death and destruction, cunning and subterfuge, magical prowess, and a thirst for power, which again, on the nose, are all quite villain coded.
I was going to say, do you think maybe that's why people think of Shadow as the villain?
I like the idea that the Shadow avatar just has a mustache that they twirl the whole time. I don't know why everyone thinks.
Yeah, see, it's the Shadow Dragon.
So what I'm hearing is this year I need to bring Zach a pack of like adhesive mustaches.
Yeah. The problem is he will wear them the whole time.
I hope so. So it favors destruction.
The dragons form a cycle, and the Shadow Dragon represents the end of that cycle. So in the same way that silver represents creation and the beginning of all things, Shadow represents the end. And in the end, as the Shadow Campers like to say, all things must end. So it's, again, destruction is not inherently a bad thing. It's just a part of the cycle of life. That said, to touch on the other ones, the specific one that is my favorite is magical prowess. Shadow Camp is particularly known for doing a lot of rituals and like being really involved on the magic side of the game. They're so creative in how much they want to bring that flavor and all the different rituals that they want to do within that. As for cunning and subterfuge, again, this is a very, very stereotypically Shadow thing. They love to plot and scheme, and they want to do all the fun, sneaky, underhanded things. They love playing into the conflict and the antagonism. And I think that's something that they do really well. And I think Thirst for Power plays really well into that as well. They have this sense of ambition of, we're going to do this thing, and like, by golly, we are going to do it the best, which I think plays into all of this theme.
I'm always fascinated by the dragon traits because it's easy to view them as like good or evil or bad, or some of them are virtues and some are their vices, but they're really not. They're a cohesive philosophy that this dragon has that represents their part of the universe. Like you said, destruction is just entropy. It's the end of all things. It's not good or bad. Yeah. It just is. And even the quest for power is as much about excellence as it is about anything else. If I am not the best, I will not be in charge. Therefore, that's how we determine who's in charge, because they're the best.
Yeah. Ambition is not a fundamentally bad thing.
How would you say that players can embody these traits that can sometimes sound antagonistic while being good guys? Like, can you play a good guy in Shadow Camp?
Yeah, you can absolutely play a good guy. You know, like maybe you are on a quest to find the best cookie recipe, right? And so
we are.
You know that everybody's got their like secret family recipes, and you have to go be sneaky and cunning, and you have to have this subterfuge to go and get everybody else to divulge their family's like cookie recipes so that you can make the best chocolate chip cookie in all of the Dragonlands. That's not a bad character, right? But like that very much embodies some of those elements.
I got to say that I kind of want to make a Shadow character that's trying to make cookies now.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, his first DrachenFest was last year, and of course he made the tour of all the camps, and he was based out of Silver. And he said he thought when he got to Shadow Camp, it would be all depressed World of Darkness LARPers. And he said, there was a bunch of gnomes, and we chilled out for a couple of hours, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple ways that the Shadow Campers like to refer to themselves. And one is the Isle of Lost Toys. They like to attract misfits. And I think the other way that I hear a lot that they describe themselves is that they are goth Muppets. And that anytime you walk into Shadow Camp, so like in any Muppet movie, right, you have all of your Muppets and you have one human. And when you walk into Shadow Camp, you have to decide, am I a Muppet or am I a human?
So what kind of character archetypes fit in Shadow Camp? Obviously, I would think like a rogue. Clearly, you know, a rogue fits well. But what are some of the other archetypes that would fit in Shadow Camp?
We have a very large vampire population. We've also got a lot of sort of unseelie, dark fae types, a fair amount of werewolves. I think we have the second largest like shapeshifter population after Green Camp.
Sure.
We've got wraiths. We've got, honestly, a lot of characters who come from these really grim, dark, apocalyptic worlds. But for them, coming into the Dragonlance, like they're on vacation, you know? They might come from these really dark settings. They might be these really serious characters, but the players and often the characters are here to have a good time.
I like the idea that you're playing this really like depressed character. Oh, all these bad things have happened. And then you go to Shadow Camp and you're like, but now we can relax and hang out and eat cookies and, and it just,
You get it.
Yeah, like that's great. I love that.
I can chill out with my other lich homies, and we ain't got to worry about trying to take over the world. We just got to win a contest.
Yeah, and maybe plot for when I get back home.
Yeah,
But
right.
But for now, it's vacay time.
Very much the vibe.
Do you find that there's a lot of internal conflict within Shadow Camp? It would be easy to assume that when you gather a large group of rogues or a large group of
People who thirst for power.
right, or people who see destruction as a means to an end, it feels like you could end up with antagonism amongst themselves. For people listening who are thinking about Shadow Camp, if I don't quite want to say player versus player is a bigger part of Shadow Camp than other camps, I'm not sure. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's such a good question, actually. I think there definitely is an element of that. And I think that one of the things that the shadow campers are very aware of and do a good job of for themselves, but also something that the refs help facilitate, is some of that player versus player conflict. I would say there isn't nearly as much as you would expect within the camp. I think that mostly they are way more excited about like hyping each other up. And if somebody does want to have one of those antagonistic plot lines, they'll be off in the corner colluding and scheming, and they're like, okay, so like, what if this happened? And then they're like, how would we see if that would play out? And there is some of that antagonism, not quite PvP, but it is still incredibly collaborative.
So it sounds like it's almost more like we're not antagonists for each other. We're all a team to antagonize the other camps.
Yes, very much so.
I just love the idea. They're like, team antagonist, go! It's like, what? Imagine the jerseys.
I love that. I've been listening to the podcast, of course, the Shadow Cast, and it's brilliant. And I love that they're also talking about adding things to Shadow Camp for other camps to come up and experience, like the what is it, the temple space? That sounds fascinating. And
the Sanctum Umbrati.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I don't know a ton because that's mostly been developing on the Shadow Discord, where I lurk, but I do not participate.
Fair.
do not blame you.
And that is the case of almost all of the lead refs.
Yeah.
Staff tries to be kind of hands off on stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good to kind of keep an eye on what's going on so I know what madcap schemes they're cooking up, but it is not my place to get involved there.
Right.
But the Sanctum Umbrati is meant to be, I believe, the first non-denominational temple in the Drachenlands. So it's meant to be a place for all kinds of religiously flavored characters to come and interact and have that space and that gameplay without necessarily subscribing to any particular Drachenlands religion.
I've heard somebody else say that it was kind of like the Unitarian Church of the Drachenlands.
Yes, that feels pretty reasonable.
I want to come back for just a second. We keep using the word antagonist, though, and I don't know. I feel like maybe we're leaning into that stereotype, and I want to maybe just let you address like how you don't have to be an antagonist to be in Shadow Camp.
For sure. No, you absolutely don't have to be. We've got one player who, Shadow Camp usually tends to be very like dark and sort of goth coded. She's like hot pink and calls herself the Shadow Camp Barbie, goth Barbie. You absolutely do not have to lean into this sort of morally gray trope. There are, besides just the fact that the players themselves are absolutely lovely, there are so many characters who are truly just there to hang out and have a good time. And, maybe some of our bards, they believe that they align with the Shadow tenets, but they're just here to hang out and play music. Or, we've got a number of our alchemists, and don't get me wrong, they are always up to scheme. But they're here to hang out and garden and have a good time. They're not necessarily out to create conflict.
One of the other traits of the dragon that you mentioned was the magic element. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also maybe dispel the obvious assumption that necromancy would be a major part of Shadow Camp, which we know is not actually the case?
Sure. Well, I guess I'll start with the necromancy part of that question, which there is I guess I will call it necromancy in the game, but I believe that's part of red magic, if I remember right. Not part of shadow magic, which is not what you would think from what it says on the tin.
Right.
While ending things is absolutely part of Shadow's ideals, necromancy is not an end. Necromancy is a form of rebirth. Necromancy is coming back. That is not an end at all.
Interesting.
So there are absolutely Shadow players who play with necromancy because it's a part of gameplay that they enjoy, but I would not even remotely call that a fundamental part of Shadow gameplay. As for magic in general, I can't speak to other camps, but I know that we have a huge proportion of our players in Shadow who have the caster role. They really enjoy that sort of gameplay. They really like it in battle. I know last year in the final battle, we had a mage corps. We had an entire unit of mages who were off doing mage things on the battlefield. I wish I'd gotten a chance to watch them more. And then we've also got a lot of folks who like to really creatively use some of those spells as part of their RP in regular gameplay. And I would actually say it is such a critical part of Shadow gameplay that they have a whole new role. So I know that some of the other refs have talked about the leadership positions like the diplomat and the spy master and the champion and all of that. But Shadow actually has a role called the Chancellor Unseelie, which is essentially a Shadow specific leadership position that is the ritual master.
You have the other positions as well.
Yes, yeah.
We've heard about those other positions. Tell us a little bit about what the Chancellor Unseelie does.
It's an interesting role that is in the past has been very much dedicated to overseeing and facilitating rituals. Like they're kind of the one who goes out and figures out what rituals people are interested in doing. They run a lot of the rituals, kind of a head ritualist, if you will. I know that there's been some conversation in some of the other episodes about the Mages Guild and the Great Ritual Circle, but each camp also has its own small camp ritual circle. And I lovingly refer to it as big R rituals and little R rituals. Some of the big world-changing stuff obviously needs to be run through the Mages Guild, but littler things can happen in camp. And those tend to be the sorts of things that the Chancellor Unseelie will oversee.
Another thing they mentioned on the Shadowcast was just how many rituals y'all do as a camp. And it was like Saturday before the final battle, there was like 20 of them. Oh. And the final battle happened at 1,
yes.
Which means that they got up and they were doing like a ritual every 15 or 20 minutes.
No, I want
Which is
breakfast.
like the minimum amount of time to do a ritual. So he had to have been standing in the circle for like 4 hours straight.
Oh, goodness.
That was actually one of my favorite parts last year about being a ref for Shadow was getting to oversee the rituals that they were doing.
It's one of the parts of the game that fascinates me the most. If I ever play full-time one year, I definitely want to be part of that, of the ritual magic. It's so interesting and cool.
It seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
From the ref side, it's a lot of fun. I assume from the player side, it's a lot of fun.
I want to talk a minute about the Shadow avatar. Can you tell us?
For sure.
Tell us a little about the Shadow avatar and what the avatar is like.
Last year was Zach's first year as the Shadow avatar. I know that's been a thing where there have been a number of different Shadow avatars, and I know the players really enjoy leaning into this idea of like, it's been the same person the whole time. And that's something that they have fun with and they get a kick out of. That said, Zach very much leans into both the goofy and the serious sides of Shadow Camp. Obviously, the avatars are very stately. They're very serious. They carry a lot of gravitas, and he does that so well. I know last year during the Dance Macabre, which is basically goth prom that Shadow Camp puts on, several of the avatars were dancing. I know Silver and Shadow had a couple of dances together, which was apparently really cool to watch. But I also know that like several of the people who he danced with throughout the event, he killed them at the end of the dance. And like the idea of having a dance with death, oh, that's so good.
Little D.
I remember.
Yes.
I think I remember that.
I remember people coming through the Limbus going,
Yes.
I got killed by the avatar. Yeah.
But I see him just like hyping up everybody in camp. I describe them as Muppets, and like he's definitely got that goofy side in him where like the players are getting up to some antics, and you can kind of see him fighting a little bit of a smile because he loves hyping them up and seeing what they're getting up to and encouraging all of that from them.
I know that there has to be some goofiness involved in Shadow Camp, partly because if it's a goth kind of environment and feel, like there's a seriousness that comes with that you kind of have to sort of laugh about, I think. Yeah. And you keep referring to them as Muppets. I also think, though, that I've listened to, Jason's mentioned it a couple of times, that a couple of the folks from Shadow Camp have started their own podcast about their experience in the camp, and folks should go listen to that. But when I've listened to that, I've constantly thought, they sound like a bunch of giddy little school kids.
Yeah, they
like
giggle.
In a really
wonderful.
good way. In a very good way.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah. They're clearly having an amazing time.
Yeah.
About destruction.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's exactly it. They are all about like, we're plotting and scheming and this is fun.
I was telling them earlier about the last episode where the one person who came on was like, yes, I'm a mortal lich. I was tortured forever, but I don't want to talk about it right now. I want to talk about how I'm a wrestling manager now. And I'm like, that is the most DrachenFest
the
Shadow Camp thing.
The characters are wrestling.
Yeah, right. I'm now a wrestling manager. That's my new life in the
talent manager, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, right. A talent manager. I'm going to focus on bards and wrestlers. And I was like, yes, 100%. This is DrachenFest.
I love that.
Yeah. Also, I am very evil. Like I eat souls, all that stuff. But
I mean, the most evil thing we can think of is promotional material for bars, clearly.
I will kill you, but also Sunday, come down.
Seven Deadly Sips is returning to the bazaar once more. Inventive iced teas, artisanal brews, demonic delights, and caffeinated bequests. And not a bean in sight. Tea so good, you'll sell your soul. And don't worry, we're always buying. Now located in the Artisan's Grove. Wait, you haven't heard about it? You will. Seven Deadly Sips has joined forces with the traders of Tamerlane and Five Goblins Pottery this year to bring you the Artisan's Grove, a shaded oasis to relax, recharge, and refresh. Bring your crafts and work in peace among like-minded souls. Help us spread the word. Keep an eye out for our first night revel Tuesday night. Light a lamp with your hopes for the fest and ring in a new dawn. Seven Deadly Sips.
I was there in year one, and Shadow Camp was right outside the Limbus, and I got to see the avatar at the end. And of course, I loved her because, it was the first year we fell in love with all the avatars that year. And I know that y'all, I believe, have changed avatar the most times, and
out of any camp.
Of any camp, and either were the smallest or the second smallest in the first year. I think you were the smallest with only 12 people. Maybe it was 14.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know we were the smallest the first year, and I'm pretty sure we've changed avatars, I think, every year. I think this will be the first year that we've had the same person playing the avatar.
And that's fascinating. How do you feel like that's affected the camp? And how do you think that affects how you run the camp as a lead ref?
Well, again, given that this is only going to be my second year with DrachenFest, I have a limited perspective.
Sure. That's okay, though.
From my understanding, again, I know the players have had a lot of fun leaning into this idea of every incarnation of the avatar is ultimately the same. It's the same dragon.
Yep.
And I know
lore,
they've had fun with that.
Yep.
But I also think there is an opportunity there for all the different people who've played the avatar to bring their own strengths to the role in such a way that unto itself is going to shape and define the camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have different people who are able to pull on different elements each year, it allows for, I think, a variety of gameplay that people are able to explore the different things that are interesting to them about Shadow.
When you were talking about the end of the Danse Macabre, the Shadow Avatar killing everybody that they dance with, it made me think of the first Shadow Avatar. If somebody was rude to them on the road, they would have them executed. And I thought, it is they're still playing the same character at the end of the day. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your camp is particularly cohesive because they started out as such a small camp and sort of had to fight for their place?
I think that's a great question. Yes and no.
Okay.
I definitely feel like there is a very strong camp identity of like being part of Shadow, although I would imagine that's probably true for most, if not all of the camps.
Sure.
I think most of what I see is there tend to be like cores of activity where somebody will take on a project and they'll build out a little niche around that, and people will kind of gravitate towards those. And I think all of those individual smaller projects really kind of form the core of the camp.
So tell us about the Danse Macabre. It's come up a few times.
Yes.
And let's talk about it because it is a big deal. I know that we've talked to other folks who have mentioned like, well, we have to be careful because we don't want to run our thing during the Danse Macabre because, a bunch of our
such a
camp
big
goes,
deal,
right?
yeah.
They barter and trade and fight to get tickets to this thing. So
One of the things that always cracks me up is with Limbus, we'll actually get into arguments about who can be free that time.
Yeah.
people
it's a
choose
problem.
their people choose their shifts around the things that they want to do,
And it's
that's one
always that
comes up.
shift.
Everybody wants to do the Danse Macabre.
I touched on this earlier, but the Danse Macabre is essentially the goth prom that Shadow Camp hosts. It is, I want to say, the second night of the event, so Thursday night.
Okay.
All Shadow Campers get in automatically, and they're all given one ticket. There are ways to acquire additional tickets for Shadow Campers, but basically they all acquire one ticket, and the goal for those is to go out and find someone to give it to. But of course, as you do for Shadow, you don't just give it away. You got to make somebody work for it.
Right.
People are out there, wheeling and dealing and bartering and like, oh, well, if you do me a favor, I might have something in it for you. Or, those sorts of things, if you'll help me out with this, or like, oh, how much is it worth to you, really? And so the Shadow Campers will go out for a large portion of the first day, and they'll be creating these role play moments for people to earn their tickets from them, essentially. And they are, from everything that I have heard, there is a lot of competition for those tickets.
Yes.
Do you know what is the highest amount that or biggest thing that someone has paid to get a ticket that you know of?
Ooh, I am not at liberty to say.
How Shadow Camp of you.
It's our least favorite answer.
I know.
we will just have to find out in play, I suppose.
This year
keep
they're doing a
forgetting.
new thing for folks who are not able to get tickets but still want to get in. I'm not sure how many people they're going to offer this opportunity for, but for folks who are interested and willing, if you let them kill you at the gate, they will resurrect you as a zombie waiter.
A zombie
I
waiter.
see. It will yet again be another busy
Yeah,
night for
yeah.
Limbus.
So how does that work with necromancy not being a major part of the camp?
Oh, I didn't say that. I just said it wasn't fundamentally a Shadow thing.
Ah, okay.
But also making other camps wait tables for you is.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That is a very Shadow thing, yeah.
I kind of love that.
I love everything about
So
the
if you-
Dance Macabre, and I'm never going to get to go.
If you acquire one of these extra tickets, is it just for you or is it like you into plus one?
I believe it's just for you, but don't quote me on that.
Of course, because if you get your extra ticket, if that's your plus one, or you can use it to wheel and deal.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things that players in Shadow Camp focus on? You said there are lots of little niche areas of things, like some folks focus on are planning the Danse Macabre. I'm assuming you have some sort of tavern or a saloon there?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I believe every camp has at least one watering hole, and the one for Shadow Camp is called Restless Spirits. I know that this year it's going to be primarily run by an individual who brews her own wine. Brews? That's not the right word. Makes her own wine. And so that is what they will be peddling there. Not sure what the rest of the establishment will look like this year, but I know last year, at least, it had very pillow fort vibes, and it was very fun to come up there and like sit in the shade and like lounge on the pillows, and it was very fun.
I try to do the circle every year, and I got to Shadow right after they closed up because it was like 1 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah, but I could look in and see the pillow fort vibe. It looked really cool.
I also heard on the Shadow. We keep referring to the Shadow.
Listen to
podcast,
this
like,
other podcast.
We're like,
go
it's like
listen to it. It's also very good.
I love it. Yeah, I do.
But they've talked a little bit about the fact that you have an award-winning garden.
Yes, that is definitely one of the other things that Shadow is particularly known for. I believe the last 3 years, they have won the Alchemy Guild contest. It's definitely a point of pride for them.
The Alchemy Guild runs like a what camp has the best garden contest?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you win an egg?
You do win an egg.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So what does a best garden look like?
First of all, I'm going to say you're going to have to come to Shadow to come find out, because I do not have a single doubt in my mind that they are going to have a phenomenal garden again this year.
Of course.
I gotta hype up my goth babies.
Yeah.
That said, I know one of the things that they're really, really proud of is that they actually created an additional biome. I don't remember all of the biomes off the top of my head, but one of the things that your garden gets graded on is that there are a number of biomes that you have to build and kind of flesh out. And they actually created, I believe it's the Shadelands biome that is unique to Shadow's garden.
That's cool.
Which is really, really cool to see.
They're like, what if we
I
made
believe
it
there's
harder?
also some sort of exactly. How do we level up? How do we step up our game? It's that Shadow ambition.
Yeah.
I believe there's also some sort of menagerie.
Can you tell us about that?
It's a bestiary menagerie, right?
Yeah. Same brainwave. I don't know all of the details of it, but I know I believe it was one particular player who organized it and just brought a bunch of little toy animals that are some combination of in and around the garden beds. And other people kind of have caught wind of that. And so now it is growing as more people are bringing these little toy animals that, you can RP with and, be like, oh my gosh, look at the tiny little lion or whatever they have.
I love that so much. Every time we do one of these, I'm like, oh, well, this is now my favorite camp.
Right. Yeah.
Are there any other aspects or areas of the camp that folks kind of invest a lot of time in and work on that you'd like to share with us?
There is actually a graveyard in Shadow Camp as well. It's as part of the area of camp that gets laid out. There are tombstones, so every camp does their own fundraising, and if you hit a certain fundraising tier for Shadow, they'll actually put your name on one of the tombstones in that part of the camp.
That's so clever.
That's a small minor aspect that folks listening, if you've never been to DrachenFest, all of these camps are having to spend a lot of money. Players are spending a lot of money on building things, making props.
The gate.
And then, like, for example, we've talked a little bit about the watering holes. So they are serving alcohol and things like that. So a lot of camps will hold different fundraisers throughout the year to encourage folks to donate to what, to their favorite watering hole or to the things that they think are cool in the game. And nobody has to.
Right, nobody has to. If somebody is all you can afford is a ticket, in my experience, come and have a great time. But it's cool that all these camps fundraise so much to do the coolest possible version of their camp every year. It's wonderful.
I also know that this year and last year as well, as part of Shadow Camp's gate build, they included a guardhouse, which I think a couple other camps might have as well. But I know that was a new thing for Shadow last year that they were very, very proud of. And so they were able to have a lot of fun role play through the guardhouse for whether or not people could come in. And this year, I believe they're planning to expand it so that there's going to be a guardhouse on either side of the game itself.
Oh, fancy.
Let's focus a little bit for a minute on new players, new folks to DrachenFest or new players in Shadow Camp. What can players expect to encounter or what can they expect their experience to be like when they join Shadow Camp?
Much like all of the other camps, when you get your ticket, you should be sent a link to the unofficial camp Discord, which is a phenomenal place to get connected, introduce yourself, start kind of figuring out what areas of gameplay you're going to be interested in, just meet all of the other people who are going to hype you up and get you excited for game and help get you involved. That said, once you are on site, the first place I would direct a new Shadow player to look is the Umbrati, which is Shadow Camp's distinctive new player group. It's a group of experienced players who are super passionate about helping new players to integrate into the game.
Oh, that's amazing.
The Umbrati, is that like do they just set up a tent in the camp that you kind of check in with, or is that on the Discord?
I mean, you can talk to them on the Discord as well, but they definitely have an on-site presence.
Is this an in-character group or an out-of-character group or both?
A bit of both. It is a group of players who have decided that helping new players to get embedded in the game and get oriented a little bit, that they want that to be a part of their gameplay.
And this is called the Umbrati.
Umbrati, yep.
If you've just joined Shadow Camp, when you get on site, look for and ask. I'm sure anyone could point you to where they're at. Look for the Umbrati, and they will help you kind of get your bearings and help you get integrated.
And I guess kind of the second aspect that I would recommend to new players is if you don't know what you want to do, if you're having trouble plugging in and getting involved, absolutely go talk to a ref. That is a huge part of what we're here for. We are so much more than just walking rule books, right? Probably my favorite part of what I did last year was a new player who was just looking a little bit lost. I was like, hey, all right, what's going on? And like helped her get plugged into the game. And like me personally, not just as a ref, I was super, super invested in like that story and that plot line for the entire rest of the event.
Well, you're the very first camp lead ref that we have had on the show. When we talked about Green, we talked to the camp coordinator, and then when
Dan.
and Stefano, he is
2, I think.
He was not the lead ref, but he is one of the refs. So tell us, what is your role as a lead ref of a camp?
A lot of my work as a lead ref is in the lead up to the event, where I coordinate my team of all the shadow refs, both in-game and out-of-game refs, help kind of make sure that they're all feeling good about the role that they're going to have in facilitating gameplay for players, as well as just kind of helping them be a cohesive team. Then once we're on site, I make their schedules, or I really should be doing that before we get there, but I make the schedule for who is going to be working which shifts and make sure that everybody is kind of showing up when they need to be there, as well as I am sort of the next level of abstraction. If any of my team are having issues, they can bring those to me, and then I'll escalate that as necessary. If any players are having issues that, my refs are not able to handle, hopefully that's something that can be brought to me and I can deal with. And it's a lot of just sort of making sure that the ref team that then facilitates all the rest of Shadow Camp's gameplay, that they are being taken care of and they have what they need.
How big is your team this year? And how many folks you're looking at having in Shadow this year? Or is it a secret because it's the Shadow?
I can give you last year's numbers, which I want to say there were about 150 shadow campers.
Oh, awesome.
That I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Just saying, yes, we're no longer the smallest camp. From the staff side, there are 4 out-of-game refs, including myself, so it's me and 3 others. And then we have 2 in-game refs, who are the individuals who play the avatar in the second. They are staff members who have all of the same ref training as the out-of-game refs, but obviously they are functioning a very different role within the scope of the game. And all 6 of us, yes, I can do math. All 6 of us are working together as a team, and we're constantly communicating with each other and all of the other refs throughout the event to, facilitate all of the plot lines that our campers are involved with Shadow. And also if somebody from another camp has a plot line that is either touches Shadow or that we want to make touch Shadow, we're working with the other camp refs as well.
I love the fact that you have only been to DrachenFest once before, and you are now the lead ref for a camp. First of all, it speaks a lot to you and your ability to learn and, your experience as a LARPer in general, right? But I also think that it says a lot about the training program that our refs at DrachenFest undergo, and Reese, the head ref, the work that they do to make sure that you're all prepared and things. I know that there are a lot of folks, when they listen to this, they're like, I maybe would consider being a ref, but it just feels so daunting. It feels like so much. And I love that, like, you're kind of like walking proof that you don't have to be a LARPer of 30 years to be a ref or even be a lead ref
be involved
for a camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
I give so much credit to our head ref team. So that's kind of like the next level of people above the lead refs is our head ref team. They put in so much work in, interviewing and picking out people who are going to be good for the role, but also making sure that we all have the training that we need to be able to create the best experience possible for players. There is a whole suite of training that we do before we even set foot on site, and all of the refs do about a day and a half of hands-on intensive training leading up to opening ceremonies. And it is genuinely the most comprehensive LARP facilitation engagement, for lack of a better term, that I have ever gotten.
I remember the first year that I worked at DrachenFest, and I sat through all the ref training, and I was like, oh, this is serious. This is not a joke. This is not just another game. This is for real. These people are serious about what they're doing. And it absolutely shows in the training. It shows in the professionalism of almost everybody I've ever met at the game in a leadership position.
I think that you hear the number 1,200 tickets sold getting tossed around a lot. But I think when you have any sort of event that's that scope and that magnitude, you have to make sure that the people who are running and facilitating that have the resources that they need to do so.
I also think it's important to note that they are always looking for more refs. And there are many different levels of reffing. You can just do like a little bit of part-timing, like battle reffing, or you can be a ref in a camp. They are always looking for additional help on the ref team at a lot of different levels of time requirements and things like that. And so if anyone is ever interested, they will train you. Even this close to the event, they are always looking for people who are excited about DrachenFest and want to help. And they can go to the website, and there is a spot on the homepage. Scroll down and fill out the little form, express some interest in becoming a ref.
I think they're looking for battle refs in particular right now. So if somebody out there, if you love that aspect of the game, they're looking for people to help with that.
And it comes with benefits and perks.
I'll plug that as well. As much as I am obviously biased, I absolutely love getting to be on the back end of facilitating gameplay. You get sort of an eagle-eye view of the whole game in a way you just don't get as a player. So if you are the forever DM who loves that kind of storytelling, this is a phenomenal opportunity to even take that up another level.
If you could give advice to a new player coming to DrachenFest that is thinking about playing in Shadow Camp, tell our listeners what you would say to help them love Shadow Camp, to create the right thing, to fit in the right way. Like how can I play the most awesome Shadow Camp thing ever?
Just show up and be engaged. There are so many ways that almost any character can find a way to fit into any camp. That's, I think, one of the beauties of the game, is that if there's a thing that appeals to you, you can absolutely find a home and a niche there, even if it's not super on the nose. But just being plugged in and being engaged and putting in the effort to do those things, that's going to do 90% of your heavy lifting. Okay. But to answer your question, I think as you meant it a little bit more about what is a good way to be shadow specific in that way, I would say think about what kind of character is going to be drawn to those elements of shadow, right? Maybe pick one of the elements of the shadow dragon and figure out how you are going to lean into that element with either your character, whether you're bringing a character from another setting or you're making a new one, and or how you're going to actively engage in gameplay that specifically supports one of Shadow's tenets.
So really both of these pieces of advice are lean into just being part of the camp and what it represents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great summary.
I know all things must end, but before we do, I have a final question. Could you tell us about your very first LARP character?
I hope it's terrible, please.
Yes. I was prepared for this question. For you first. I have.
We know, confirmed, one listener.
Well, I download it 100 times a day.
Just to make the numbers look good.
The numbers look better, yeah.
There we go. So when I first started LARPing, I immediately jumped in on the back end, and I did not PC for quite a while. So my first ever LARP character is different than my first LARP PC. And I'm going to ask you which one you want.
Oh, well, we have to know both.
Yeah, now it's both. You can't tease us with
It was a character. It was a role that existed that I ended up in and then kind of did my own thing with it.
Okay. Well, what is this character?
So the very, very first LARP event that I ever went to, we're backstage in Monster Camp. Everybody's running around trying to figure out what needs to happen. Ren, who is part of the assistant head ref team for DrachenFest, was the head of plot at this game at the time. They're looking around and they're going, I need an assassin. I need someone to be an ice elf assassin. And I'm just sitting there I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do it if you need someone. And so as I'm frantically trying to look around Monster Camp for anything that looks vaguely ice elfish, again, first game ever, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going on. I've got one person trying to tell me the lore of the backstory in one ear, and in the other ear, I've got this other person trying to explain to me okay, so when you go out, This is what you need to do. Da 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 da. Essentially, I was meant to go out with this big old MacGuffin of a sword and attempt to assassinate somebody, fail miserably, immediately die, and then I'm done. I'm out. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Naturally, that is not what happened. So I go out. I come up over the hill with a big old sword over my head, and I'm doing my very best to be scary and menacing. I find the guy. I do the thing. He doesn't kill me. He starts bantering with me. We're going back and forth and bantering, and I'm waiting for him to kill me, and he keeps not killing me, and he eventually finally does. And again, players going to be doing their own thing. No plan survives first contact with the players. They resurrect me, because of course they do. And they stick me in this magical circle that I can't get out of, and I'm sitting there watching this combat happen that started up after I died, and there's a shopkeeper in the circle with me, and she looks at me and she goes, "You want to lick my frog, Larold?"
Oh my goodness.
Naturally, the answer is yes.
Of course.
Right?
I lick the frog, and I'm informed that I am now hallucinating. So this goes on for a while, and eventually, again, first LARP ever, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of like looked at somebody, and I put my hand up on my head to signal that I was speaking out of character. I said, Can I go back to monster camp now?" And they were like, yes, you did great. You can go now. Partway through this, like as this whole scene is happening up on the hill, I can see Ren and Tab. They're both like peeking their head around the corner of the building, like watching, like parents, like watching their kid like take their first steps. And they're like, "Is she gonna mess it up? Is she doing okay? She seems like she's doing okay."
Is she doing the drunk toddler walk?
Right?
Yeah.
Straight in the deep end.
All right, now tell us about your first character. Your first character.
Yes, my first character was a Vampire the Masquerade character.
Oh.
And she was just this like cranky little farmer who was obsessed with the Fae. And she just wanted to be left alone with her vegetables and her research, and naturally was not allowed to do so.
Of course not.
What clan was she?
Banu. She's Banu Hakim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She was a Banu Vizier.
I used to love that clan. It was the first clan I ever fell in love with.
What was the character's name?
Her name was Vibka.
There we go. All right.
How do you feel like your experience of playing in these more crunchy network LARPs has influenced you being a ref and now lead ref at a game that is certainly not loosey-goosey, but is much more rules light, at least from the player's perspective?
Because, we all come into the game with the experience that we have, and I don't have a ton of other experiences to compare it to. I would say the influence is more goes the other way. The experience that I had at DrachenFest really changed the way I viewed a lot of things about LARP in general, and being able to take those home with me to my home game, I think has been a much bigger influence.
Oh, that's fascinating.
That's
I love
wonderful.
that.
I have often described DrachenFest as being kind of like the Olympics of LARP, where you've got people from all of these different environments and backgrounds and skill levels coming together into this one game, and they're all bringing the best of their own home games and their own experiences to share with other people who are just as excited to bring that level of passion and enthusiasm.
Well, we appreciate your passion and enthusiasm for Shadow Camp, and we really, really can't say enough about how thankful we are that you spent the last hour with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. This has been a blast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Well, that was an awesome conversation with Kat, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And you were right. She did not tell us.
It's the secrets of Shadow.
Shadow.
I think you have to go to the Dance Macabre if only you could get a ticket, which you probably can't.
I'm going to figure out a way to get in a ticket.
That's true. That's true. We could start playing bandits and jump people on the road and just steal their Shadow Camp tickets.
We're only
Pat them down for the ticket. Get out of here.
Do you got a Shadow Camp ticket? Okay, you can leave.
You can go.
Yeah.
You are free to
you've
go.
got one?
And if we only get one, we have to get a really big trench coat.
Oh, like we did in that other game. Yes. Ryan's going to be on the bottom again, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, he's
Good
the
times.
tallest. Yes.
Those are good times.
All right. So I have a question for the two of you before we leave.
Okay.
I would like to know if either of you have ever won a national award.
Okay. Clearly, this feels like a a seeded question.
I what?
Yeah, okay.
What?
Okay, just go ahead and finish it. National Award for...
Anything LARP related.
That's a major award.
It's a major award.
I feel like we've been set up to brag. It's okay. I'm not above it.
Yeah, neither am I. So that's why I did ask that, because
If folks don't know, the three of us and Dakota, who is Carie and I's daughter that was on the show when we talked about the Drake Academy,
Right.
we just won an American LARP award
Yes,
for
we did.
best prop.
what?
We have a very large dragon skull that is one of the centerpieces of Limbus. Get killed, come see the skull.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Carie designed this amazing skull, and then with our help, which was obviously limited compared to her, because she's the only one of us who has a degree in anything. So
We worked on that
struggle
thing for about almost 4 months.
To be fair, it was only on weekends.
yeah, but it was like Friday evening, Saturday, and
Yeah.
Sunday some days.
Yeah.
And there was not a single weekend we did not at least do one day on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's about 15 feet long. Like if
I-
you count, if you
okay.
count the horns.
It
If you
keeps
count
getting
all of them,
longer
it's true.
every time we talk about it. Our 37-foot long dragon skull.
I would, related to this, there were several photographs that were also submitted that did very well in this contest. None of them won, but all of them, the ones that did well, were from Ryan. He had taken some
Yes.
phenomenal pictures that year.
And one of our guests on the show, Dan from Green Camp, he plays Logos. He was also nominated for Best Character.
Oh, I
so
did not
there's-
realize that was him.
Yeah,
I
so
I
there's
should have. Yeah,
lots of DrachenFest nominations.
Yeah.
The only win was the best prop, but that's still pretty cool.
yep. And
Yeah.
it's for the Limbus, so of course,
Yeah.
they knew they had no
What?
choice.
So
Right.
we couldn't share a lot of photos of it because we have to kind of, Limbus is a secret.
Right?
Yep.
Yep.
Get
But
killed, come back.
yeah, but you can come by and check it out in person. And not to brag, but it's pretty impressive.
Yep.
My favorite part was when, as we were getting ready to load it on, our neighbors came over and asked if they could have photos with it.
I forgot about that.
It was ridiculous and awesome.
One of my favorite moments is when we had taken it down the first year we had it and loaded it onto the trailer to take it into storage. There was a lot of people who had not seen it because it was
Not everyone dies.
Yeah, not everybody dies. We're driving it down the road up to the storage, and there's people going, "What the hell is that? Where has that been all weekend?"
So it was on the trailer driving through the little service roads through the bazaar.
Right?
Everyone could see it.
It makes me think of Lake Placid when they're driving the giant alligator at the very end.
I like, at one point we needed to see what it would look like from a lot of different angles. And so at one point we lifted it up and put it on the roof of my carport.
Yep.
And as people were driving by, like we would watch them slow down and just ogle at it. And that was always funny to me. So it was very
It was a
fun.
great project. I'm glad we've never done another one like
And
that.
I'm impressed it survived the 10-hour drive. Like that's always amazing.
10 hours of driving up in just a rickety trailer that banged the whole way. And then we got there, and of course it had to go up, and it got rained on 2 or 3 times. And then it stayed in a trailer for essentially 12 months, all weathers,
Right between games.
and then back up again in the rainiest year that's ever happened to anybody anywhere.
And then back in a trailer for the last year. And we just checked on it because we had a site visit.
And it's fine.
It looked good.
My baby's good.
Yeah. We just have to, every year you get a little patch, a little paint, but like that's literally everything.
Yeah.
Even me.
Jason, I know you said that we're never doing anything like that again, but I would just like to say everyone should come by Limbus again this year
Yep, that's true. That's true.
because there's going to be new.
Always.
Oh, that's
something
right. There is. I'm in panic attack phase, so I can't even think about that.
Well, until next time, thank you everybody for joining us for DrachenPod. You can find us on all of the streaming platforms, or you can go to YouTube and listen to it on the DrachenFest US YouTube channel as well. Like us, subscribe us, smash the like button.
That's right.
Do all of those things.
What's the new thing on YouTube? You hype.
You hype it?
Yeah, I don't know if that does anything.
These
yet.
wacky kids.
Yeah, you're hype.
All things must end. Let's go.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody take care. We'll see you in June. Thanks for listening.